Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So for myself, I love being productive. I'm not sure if it's because I manage engagements ever since a few years ago when I was working in consulting. Do you know actually a top performing leader can make such a difference? So the top 200 CEOs in the world, they can make up to $5 trillion in terms of economic profit, and that can actually equal to the total GDP of Japan, which is the third largest economy in the world. Being a high performing leader can create such a difference in terms of economic value, but also how your company performs, how the team performs, and how to create the value as a whole in total. So today I would like to share, this is what I learned from this book. So it's called CEO Excellence, the 6 mindset that distinguish the best leaders from the rest. This is a book written by the McKinsey consultants, and they quoted a lot of examples from different companies, from different CEOs on what they think, what they do, or what's the direction, and what's the experience, etc. So this is a really good book that I want to share with you. Even though that you might not be a CEO, I still think that if you lead a team of 4 people or more, you should definitely understand these 6 mindset. And on top of that, being a leader, I think a mindset is much more important than your knowledge. So let's get started. So the first mindset is direction setting mindset, which is the first and most important mindset of a leader. The key message here is being bold and kill as much as you create. Very often you have to make decisions, and the decisions can be big or small. It's important for you to understand what should be killed and what should be created. So what does that mean? So you need to understand the value, where is the value coming from, and to create more value from that area. So as a leader, it's very easy for you to try to understand a bit more in order to make decisions. But this book suggested that sometimes you do not need to have the perfect information in order to make the decision, but then you need to be visionary, you need to understand the present and the future and to balance it out in order to make the decision as early as possible so your team would not be confused. And the second is organization alignment mindset. So if you're working in a company, it's so often that you will face issues with people. You know, the human issues can actually account for 72% of the barriers to success. Is much higher than I've expected, although I know that people can be a huge issue. The mindset here is for a leader to align different groups of people or different departments in order to let them to understand the direction that they set. Having a stable and agile team is so important. A stable and agile team can make such a difference because organizations that have stable and agile teams can make 3 times or even 4 times more productive than those that do not have a stable and agile team. So this actually involves how you structure the team. It's not just about how the reporting line is structured as mentioned in the book, but also how in practice the people can have a clear direction and reporting line so that they can discuss and align the ideas with the people that are concerned in the group. The third mindset is mobilizing leaders mindset. So one person cannot do it all, especially for a CEO. So it's important that you mobilize your leaders and to make sure that you have an effective dialogue. So in this book, it suggested that we need to let the data speak. It is quite common that people have biases in their thinking and they might not be objective enough. So as a CEO or as a leader, you should be able to set the tempo of how you communicate with your mini leaders in the team and to make sure that you guys maintain an effective communication and have a objective discussion on matters, because that would make a big difference in terms of the performance of the leaders and hence the team. And the fourth mindset might not be very relevant to a lot of leaders if you are not a CEO. That's the board engagement mindset. But I think that is still a very useful mindset to make reference to because the main message here is about building trust. Very often the board of directors might want to exert that influence on the CEO and make the CEO follow their orders and follow their direction. But a healthy relationship should be the board of directors or your boss, in this case, if you're thinking about yourself, to trust yourself, to trust you as the decision maker, and you should have the freedom to execute your plan. The fifth mindset is stakeholder connection mindset. I think this mindset is more important than ever in this world because there are a lot of stakeholders, not just customers. Nowadays, you got the ESG stuff, and everyone cares a lot about the society, the impact that you make to the earth. So the stakeholder connection mindset is really about the CEO having conversations around different stakeholder groups and have the key message for different groups. Because one company can have one key message, but for different stakeholders, they care about different stuff. For example, your customer care about whether they can have a fast, cheap, good service from you, especially if you're working as a project manager that you have to deal with different stakeholder groups. So a good leader should have the stakeholder connection mindset so that to understand the needs from different groups and to actually turn that into maybe sort of new ideas that can actually cut across different stakeholder groups. Make that maybe a new product idea, that may be a new initiative from the company. So that mindset is not just about talking with different groups, but then to actually think about is there any new ideas? Can we actually satisfy what they want, what they expected from us? That's a CEO or a leader that should think about. Last but not least is the personal effectiveness mindset. So of course, a CEO or a leader, I think the most challenging part is to manage their timetable and manage priorities. You are very tempted to fall into the trap of wanting to know everything and wanting to make every small decisions, wanting to understand every bit of the business before you come into a conclusion. So personal effectiveness mindset meaning that the CEO or the leader should be able to prioritize and just do what you can do. I think that is so applicable to a lot of people that you are always overwhelmed by timetables and meetings and stuff. So being personally effective does not mean that you do as much as you can in a capacity of the time. You have the energy to perform as your best self. So mini breaks or having workout breaks and having the social breaks is extra important if you want to be a high-performing self or a high-performing team. Everyone should be personally effective. So to help not yourself but then your team as well. Yeah, so that's it for the 6 mindsets. I hope that kind of make you think a little bit of what you're currently doing, a little bit on your personal management style or personal style, working style, etc. So highly recommend this book. A lot more examples there. I just listed out the mindsets, but then there's much more in here on the examples and how people actually execute in different companies. And I think everyone should have a read. I hope that is useful for you, and that's all for my sharing today. So I hope you're well and see you next time. Bye!